For today, we have on the agenda the following items. First of all, as usual, the antitrust policy of the Linux Foundation. Then we have news. Then Marcel was so kind to send us a suggestion for today's agenda. So first topic after the news is Shane's update on the capability map, so version 1.6.3. And then Jan's hint about the MKDocs tags in order to link the sites, the pages of the websites somehow. I have to admit I did not have the time up to now to read through the stuff. And then update on the OpenChain and Friends event in April in Stuttgart on 7th till 9th of April. And last but not least, all other business. Regarding the news, to be honest, I do not have that much updates. The only thing I came across, and perhaps you know this already, if not, better to say, if you know this already, please forget this. But I came across a press release that this Olmo 2 model probably is the first fully open model, and they claim to outperform GPT 3.5 and GPT 4.0 mini. They also claim that all data, code, rates, details are freely available. So my question to you is, did you have already a look at this? Do you know this? Or what's your impression about this?
I haven't heard of it, but it's good to hear that it's things that are now kind of moving along and it's its first, so hopefully more to follow and show that it is something that can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also have it on the agenda, on my agenda to dig a little bit more into detail and to check whether really all is available and also under which license it's available. Yeah? All this stuff. That's the news I can share currently. Are there any news from your side you want to share with the group?
Perhaps just not used yet, but just as an information that Omo and I and Matthew are currently working on another profile in SPX. I don't know if we will make it for the version 3.1 or later. I hope we will. It's about operations profile, it's called, and the idea is to have additional business context information also somehow covered in an SPX file, not with the idea of sharing this in the supply chain, because they're obviously then also data that we would not share, but mainly also to have then a clear standard also for tools, like here in the open source tooling. What would you expect at what point, especially in the open source compliance context, for example, if you do license policy automation, policy checks, automated policy checks, where you need to have additional information about, well, for example, the distribution context. One very clear use case was already in the beginning, then also export control, where you obviously need to know, okay, from which target countries are things coming from, to which target countries is the product distributed to, so that we have those fields then also covered in the SPX, so that we can also work on that. My personal feeling now about starting as SPDX started as a file format, right, for data exchange. Now with this SPDX version 3 setup, it more grows to a real metadata model, my point of view, so a database model. That's not bad, but this is something people should know because if you expect, okay, you're still on the state of version 2 something, yeah, and you expect, okay, it's only about one file with a few fields. Now, if you didn't have a look at it yet, so the version 3 comes with some other profiles as well, and there are also still other profiles currently in development at the moment, and just that so this is where Omo and I are currently also putting some time into it.
Okay, cool. When do you think can we have a look at your work?
So every week it feels like, yeah, on Friday.
Friday it comes so fast.
Exactly, Friday afternoon, and the worst case is our meetings are on Friday afternoon. So, but I think we did some good progress over the last meetings, especially as we had then also a review with the tech steering committee from SPDX that also gave us valuable feedback. And also I also discussed with Andrew Katz, for example, who's also thinking about more in the direction of risk management. Yeah, so that he says, he also needs that information. So having such a feedback loop was very valuable. Yeah, so now we already put that feedback into the current design. And on the design level, I think I would be optimistic that in April we can already have a look at it together, and would also be happy to get your feedback then here in our meeting.
Cool. Yeah. So target is end of April.
We don't say the year.
I know. Cool. Great. Further news or updates, heads up? No, obviously not. Then let's move to the next agenda item, Shane's update on the capability map. To be honest, I had a look at it, and I did not really get what kind of information was updated, besides the layout of the slides. But nevertheless, I probably did not look into that much detail, and I was not present in the last meeting, so I need your help to get me up to speed in this topic again. So was this discussed in the last meeting, in the first Wednesday meeting?
Yes, I think so. I think it was we were 3 or 4 of us. Let me see. I can share 1 second because I took the notes. Yeah, it was Helio, Yari, Nicola, and me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me check, where is this button? Come presenter. And now I have to click the right button, otherwise like last time I just closed the window, and here the whole window, right? I should share. That would make sense. I hope that is the right one.
Yes, at least I see something.
Which do you see change log?
Yes, I see the change.
Perfect. So then it's so because it. Okay, great. Yeah, that's cool. So here we had the meeting on 5th of March.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like you, Oliver, we needed to kind of get on the same page again. So what was the idea in all this? So we went through this document and had a look at it, and came then to the conclusions that we noted down here. I hope this is also updating here now in the screen share. So we put a lot of effort into the capabilities. So for those who were not in this activity, just briefly, so we had this discussion, I think it was already before Corona, right? Or directly after that. I think, I don't know, but it was a lot of work and it was no fun. This is what I remember. This was not a fun. But at least thank you also for all the colleagues who went through this. So the idea was that we have on the one side our architecture, right, with the building blocks of tools. But we came to the point that, well, tools alone will not make it, right? So we need sometimes more than just tools. Or yeah, Yari had fun. Okay. Then you're welcome also for the next steps. Yeah, so that we said, okay, we need more than just tools. Or sometimes you just can't do a tooling or something like that for whatever. But on a more abstract level, we said, okay, but at least we can describe it. And then we thought about how can we call it, and then we came up with these capabilities, right? So to have those capabilities, especially also for the interfaces where we know, okay, now which capabilities also have a dependency. And yeah, you need to get to really have a look at it first, right? Because also for me, I used it now internally to map some of our toolings and other capabilities. And to be honest, when I looked at it, I tried to then map ORT, right? The OSS review toolkit, and say, I don't find that building block in here until I understood, okay, here, tool orchestrator. So so it starts really with this big block here as a tool orchestrator in the background. And then typically what people know is then a dependency analyzer, where we have source code dependency analyzers, or also container dependency analyzers, like here turn or things like that. So where we can do this mapping. So that's the idea. You also see we have a very limited set of symbols to keep it very simple. And now the good thing, and that was also the exercise that we did. So okay, what is then the description? What does each of those capabilities mean? Yeah, so you can see later in this slide deck. So for example, here a package crawler, package archive, etc., and all of those capabilities are described with the same format from same tables. Okay, what is the mission of a dependency analyzer for sources? So because you also have some for binaries, and as I said earlier, then for containers, it's always the same, but then here might have different descriptions. What are the responsibilities? What are the tasks in this capability that potentially, like in this case, may be automated by a tool? What is the input? What is the output? And then some comments. And this was the exercise that was done. I would say it was the team did a good job here, because when we discussed this in a bigger round, we directly got feedback then also about, hey, but if we look from a securities perspective, here we have some changes. So it seemed that people could digest it somehow, so that it made sense. Yeah. So that is then, for example, where I say, okay, we can use the same idea also for security, and then check, okay, what is same, what is different, things like that. And then there was the idea, I think, and this is what Shane meant, I think, in the emails, to say, okay, now let's do just, if we have now this capability model, then it should be easy also to do mapping, right? So Bang is the That's easy. A dependency analyzer for binaries. Clearly defined is package data repository, including also package crawler capability, because that's obviously then not a tool only, right? So here you also need capabilities, people that review this, etc., etc. So here I think it's a good example why it's not only tools, but tools and more, scanners, etc., etc. And then we said, yeah, okay, we could do this. So this is what we then discussed in the last meeting there, beginning of March. But then we will grow this this slide deck very, very big. Yeah, on the one side, on the other side, we would love to have also yeah, both perspectives. That I say, okay, I have now already a very sophisticated landscape in my house, but I would need some container analyzer for dependencies, right? Could I filter then our tool list for all available dependency analyzer container? And that's would be potentially possible, but not that easy. And therefore we said, okay, and also not that convenient. So therefore we said, if we really do this, the next exercise to say, okay, now do this mapping between capabilities and tools, it would be nice if we could already do this here with our website or with our GitHub repository. So because as I said, I'm already using the descriptions, and here I made then markdown out of those slides, point number one, so that I could easily reuse them, not need to know need to use then the slides. Plus, also here, via having one markdown per capability also enables you to link to it, right? And to do this. On the other side, we already have also a list of tools, right? So this is also one of the big targets for our event then in April, also to update that one. And in the course of this update, then it would be nice to, yeah, here I have a page of the capability. Here I have a page for the tool. So, and this is where we made this little picture here. So in case of Bang, it would be nice if Bang, we could somehow link it or label it or however to link to, okay, this is this dependency analyzer binary. And then also having then the backlink to say, okay, if I look into dependency analyzer binary, that it shows all the tools like Bang, for example, so in both directions. And here there was the question, how could that be done with the setup that we have? So here, next steps, ideally mapping of tools to capabilities, but how to do this? Yeah, because those who were there in March didn't have an idea how this could be done. And then here the open questions that we had about that. And here we had then the nice feedback from Jan, because we had a look that here the website sources are also in our GitHub repository, so that's handy. So it's all there, and it's generated right with this MK docs.
Yeah.
So here, so that was one finding. So that here we currently have only one huge list with all the tools. So that would be then something that we should talk about is, would it make sense to have then single pages, or if does that make sense, or is this really helpful, or can we work with those anchors and identifiers? I don't know. Yeah, so that would be point number one. And point number two is, if we would have such a lot of markdown files and for each of those tools, then so how would we do this then, with tagging, etc., etc.? And this is where Jan then wrote an email. So about a hint that MKDocs already has some functionality that we might use, but I also didn't have the time to have a deeper look at it. Yeah. But that would be kind of vision that we created then in the last meeting, to say that would be really nice if we have then a tool list where we said, okay, for each tool we have and that may also go beyond capabilities, right? That we say, okay, for each tool by default we list, okay, what are the capabilities, but also maybe because we have also the other architecture building blocks representation where we could do the same, so that people say, hey, I need this, to see, okay, then I go there and I get a list, and the other way around to say, okay, and this is my additional point. So I would love if we would not need to do this for Bang and for all those tools, but ideally we can also win over the tool maintainers so that we also have the accurate information, so that we explain to them, okay, look, this is how things works. Please, could you tag your tool or your description in a way so that we can see this. So I think that we also note it down somewhere, right? That.
And then, I think Shane mentioned also somewhere that not just open source tools, but also commercial tools might be, part of this exercise.
But then I will not put it on my website.
Yeah.
Sorry. So then you need to look for another hosting, because I am not willing to do or be a sales channel for commercial tools.
I didn't say that. Shane mentioned that somewhere.
Yeah. Shane mentioned this because he probably gets a lot of fire from from commercial tool vendors, but I'm not Shane, and I'm not in this context. And I made it. Perhaps Marcel, you still know this. I made it crystal clear when we had a face-to-face meeting. I will not be a sales channel for commercial tools.
And I think that we are both in line. And I think this is also what we put here, right? We focus on building on OSS compliance with OSS tools as OSS project, right? This is, I think, what unites us here. Unfortunately, I also am in a bigger company, so that I cannot force everyone to have the same idea. But this is what I said. So I would already love to have this setup here shared, right, in our repository. And then for this commercial stuff, I obviously would make my local copy in-house, right, and work on that. But because it would also help to say, look, dear purchaser, we have exactly the same tool also as open source. So wouldn't it be a good idea also in the next phase to also consider this as an option? Yeah. So therefore, I would love this, but I would also say that here, as the open source tools, they do not have a huge marketing budget, whatever, and salespeople, right? So that we kind of then can bridge this gap as a community here to promote those open source tools, and also to do kind of a little bit of portfolio management, of alignment in between. I think that was exactly our initial idea also here that we listed.
Yeah. And furthermore, so just loud thinking. Furthermore, if you intend to put this commercial tool, whatever it might be, on such a list, and then you list, okay, this has these capabilities, then you need to have a license for that. Otherwise, you can really not say that this is has these or implements these capabilities and so on. And furthermore, you have to be very, very careful if you say, okay, this commercial tool has this capability and this, but not this and that, and because probably it might be that you then will receive a lot of bad emails from this commercial tool when you are stating, oh, you are lying, your information is outdated, we are the best, and so on. So I do not want to go into this fight against windmills. That's it. But nevertheless, if you think this is worth the effort, you are free. But I will not participate then in this endeavor.
Yeah, I just started to think that, you know, if this capability map comes or becomes sort of standard, then, you know, the commercial vendors, whatever, they can, you know, take it and, you know, use that to I don't know, show off on their own sites. But, you know, we don't, or you don't have to do anything about that, because, you know, this is whatever CC0 or no, this is by SA. But anyway, so
for sure they can use the material, because that's okay, because
because I could imagine that, you know, basically the I don't know, black ducks, fossas, who knows what, you know, of the world, you know, they could, you know, kind of use that so that, as I don't know, quote unquote standard, that which boxes we fill.
Yep, of course they can do this.
Yeah. And Oliver just mentioned it, so that if we would do this with commercial tools and we would falsely tag it, right, or miss some tags, we would potentially get some problems. But I think that would not be easier with our colleagues that maintain our open source tools. They, I think, would also get mad with us. So therefore, we also came to this point. So who would do this tagging then later, right? So the users or the tool maintainers or both? So that was already an idea that we say, okay, just make this really open, right, for everyone, and say one of them, either the maintainer or a user, makes a proposal. And then we will review this together in a kind of PR process, so that we do not publish something that is not aligned with both sides. That is one point. Then the other point, to be honest, I do not remember the first and the second that we noted this down. Maybe some copy paste that we had, or Yari, I don't know if you remember if we noted that down, or if this was already in the slide deck, point number 1 and 2.
Rules and policies, you mean policy, for example, policy, a license-based policy or something like that? So for example, if you have a CI/CD pipeline, and you have now integrated a new package, and the license compliance information of this package is already available, or at least that the main license is already known, and let's say, okay, this main license is GPL 3.0, and you have a policy, okay, GPL 3.0 we do not want to have in our products, then it can easily break the build, and notify an error on this. That's, for example, a license-based policy which really can be evaluated automatically, and you then probably can make it a little bit more complex, saying, I have a different license policy when I physically ship products containing software, instead of another policy where I have all the software on my premises and a user interacts only with this software. But here we need, of course, to sort out the main, how should I say, the main. So if we want to integrate this into a policy document which can be processed automatically, we need to define the most common usage scenarios, which apply to products containing software.
Now I finally understand also the question why it's in here, because, and I think this is a perfect example why this is then capability, right? Because license and policies, here policies and rules, sorry, as a capability is not really a tool, right? So we could then potentially map here tools here, right? But then we would always have, if we only tag tools, then we would still have white or black spaces here. Therefore, I think that's a valid question. So what about, what is the other part that is missing, right? Like for example, the policies and rules. And I think Double Open did something, also Osadl. I think we have some things that goes in this direction slightly. Also, I think we had last year, right, this presentation about this. So, but that would be then the question: what would we have beyond such a tool landscape, tool list, right? So where we can make then the tagging and linking. Yeah.
Yes, of course, it would be really nice if we could, for example, agree on a common format to express policies and rules. Yeah? Because if we agree on such a format, different tools can use this and perhaps implement it if they want. At least then we have some kind of harmonization on this.
Yeah, that would be great. I think in Bilbao, Arun already mentioned for Software 360 for Solidgy, they were thinking about in the combination also have a rule engine, right? And then I directly went to him and say, please, let's align, because I would hate to maintain two different sets of the same, because the content obviously would be the same for us, but we would need to implement it into different, worst case, two different formats. So having there one single language that both tools would understand, I would really appreciate. Yes. Ideally, visual based, right? Rule that's automatically generating then whatever.
We can do a nice GUI with nothing behind.
And policy and rules. So from my experience that I had here in house, it was a nightmare of knowing later. Now, did I implement it correctly, right? So I think here what is also important is to have some tests that really, where you can really prove, yes, now my policy works, right? Because if it's not working, it's even worse, right? If it works and you did something wrong, then you have a lot of users that are mad with you because all their builds break and say, hey, they're breaking because you made some wrong policy that catches too much. But if you make a policy that does not catch what you want to catch, that's heavy, right? Because you never know. It's always green. Is it green because there is nothing, or is it green because my policy is wrong? And I think here, this is also where we as a tooling group, right, could join forces to say, okay, let's collaborate on such test sets for policies and rules.
Yeah.
And therefore also this hint to the dummies, right? The repository dummies that we could use. And also Vladimir and Martin, they prepare currently a presentation for the legal workshop there, where they go in this already scratch on that direction as far as I've seen, about policies and rules that might be shared. And with AI, I think that will anyway become very interesting, right?
Yes. Nevertheless, I have a fundamental question, because the current existing website and also in the repo, there are building blocks already mentioned and not which were earlier available than these capabilities. So my question is, how do we deal with such kind of things in connection with this capability model? Perhaps I can share my screen again.
Yeah, you mean those that we also use here in this picture, right? Would also be an open question for me if we shall capabilities alone would be sufficient, or if whatever. Yeah.
Yes, that's a point which which we need to agree upon. You know, this one. I mean, toolchain element description.
Yes.
Dependency resolver, container content resolver, binary analyzer, things like that. Yeah, so that these are, I have called it building blocks in former times. And here, then there are capabilities, and they are not really correlated. So nobody did a work, as far as I remember, to say, okay, what are the differences? What shall we use or not? Or I think that's the question which we have to resolve first before we either go to the capabilities and perhaps enhance the capabilities, or map tools to capabilities, or extend these capabilities, because I think in the light of these entire upcoming regulations, major point is missing of the capabilities, which is, in my opinion, and I already made a note here, to be added: SBOM generation, management, and maintenance. This is a capability which is not shown here, in my opinion, and I did not really see where such kind of capability is located, because you might end up in a product with a complex product. You need you have, at least, for example, you have a product which consists of commercial off-the-shelf components, of open source components. Perhaps you pull all this stuff into a container and deliver this container. This commercial off-the-shelf components can integrate itself open source components, and so on and so on. So you will need a capability, or at least a building block, or how you call it, which realizes the entire SBOM management of an entire product. Otherwise, I would say this is not usable.
I think if I remember right, it would be part of this compliance artifact generator capability. At least I think there's mentioned bill of materials in there. But now this is exactly the question: is it too generic? Is it generic enough? Yeah. So that would be a proof of concept, right? If that now would fit the description, or if the description of this compliance artifact generator would need to be updated, because here it only talks about generation, right? But you also were talking about management and maintenance.
Yes.
Yeah? If that, because generator does not really feel like management and maintenance, right? And so on. Yeah. So I think this is a good use case, at least, that we should then add to do this proof, if that works. If it's one of the slides, slide number 31.
Yeah. Generate documentation according to requirements, support compliance managers in completing the documentation, assemble.
Because assemble documentation parts could fit in this direction, right? So it's generic enough, but yeah.
List of version packages to be documented, BOMs and their metadata. So that's I would see this as an input, and not a thing which is generated.
Yeah, it's in input. I just see it. List of version packages is an input, and the output is all documentation requirements, pre-sampled stuff, identified to-dos.
By the way, do you know what this what this check mark?
Yes, that means this is. I still remember where we said, okay, is everyone? I think that was 2-3 years ago. Is everyone now agreeing to this stage to have it in a version
Okay.
that we publish? Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Because there might still be some slide. I don't know. I didn't have a look. Where in comments there's this. No. Every slide has such a checkbox, right? So there was use that for tracking. Yeah. Package archive, for example, doesn't have such a checkbox. The slide 16. So that means that discussion wasn't not ended off on this package archive.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, I think I would see as a first task, as I said, to determine, okay, what are we doing with these building blocks and these capabilities? Try we to merge them or not? Or if not, then yeah, what do we further? Yeah.
My impression, Oliver, was that we need both, or that both has their right to exist, because I always saw the architecture building blocks that we had. In case I now want to build some tools, right? And then I take this and that from the shelf, yeah, and I take those tools, I put them together, and then it works as a tool, but it does not work really as a system, because then I also need config as code. I need to configure the license. I need to this, and all the data. But this is, I think, a different perspective, right? That I say, okay, now I am an open source office, right? And I need to set up not only the tools, but all the tools and integrate them also into my infrastructure that I have already, right? Because you typically do not start from scratch. And there, I think if you come rather from the process perspective, then the capability map might help. But here, I think it would be super helpful to have also Jan again, because he really led us through all this development of this model. But I didn't see him for a while now here in this group. Or Yari, I don't know. You were also and who else? I think there were 2-3 in the core group there 2-3 years ago that really worked on that. Because I was not a permanent team member, to be honest, at that time. Tried to do my best, but yeah.
I see.
I'm not the one who can really pitch this. I hope I could at least give you all the overview. So I think this I can do, but yeah. Ideally we would have someone from the core team.
Okay, I see. Let's see. Then... Yari has written, I think it was something that Martin told me. There's a legal company behind it, so they would be.
I think I can provide the link. I think I will find it. It's in the double open repo, I think.
Okay.
Let's see. Policy demo. It might be that one. I don't know, but if not that one, it is in the double open project. But Martin, he will be there in Stuttgart, so we can ask him. There's policy configuration. There's another repo. But that might be ORD specific. Here we go. Perhaps I can just, if you're interested, we can have a look at it. Then you can see scripts, license classification. Yeah. If you want, I can share that a little bit, that you get an idea how that works.
That would be great. Yes.
Now let me just see if this is if I really can explain it. So then I share it. Share again. Here it's the same window. Enter. Share this window. No, this one. So now you should see my screen again, right?
Yes. Your
Okay.
email. Well, yeah.
I hope not. Is it? Then I share my wrong thing.
Yeah.
Then that's the wrong. So now you see. Can you see now policy configuration license classifications? YAML.
No.
Oh, email.
Still email. Stop sharing. I want to show my emails. As I don't like the other systems, but at least that functionality that you get this frame around your shared screen is much better. Entire screen. That looks better. So now share. Now let's see.
Yes, I now see our meeting.
Oh no! Now I close that.
Okay.
Just double open projects. So here, this is the policy configuration folder. And here, what is important is that here you have a YAML file with all the license classifications. I make it a little bit bigger. I hope you can see that. Yeah, so where you can define some categories, like here they obviously copyleft strong, LGPL, etc. So this is or permissive, and then there should be a huge list later here, right, where you have 0BSD, AFL, etc., where you can then map those categories from above, right? So then typically then Apache, etc., HGPL, yeah, that is a nice one. HGPL 3 or later is copyleft strong, and they even added here, it has a network clause, it has etc. So this is here part of this double open policy configuration. And then let me see, scripts here, check license classifications. So this is now such a policy, that you will also see later in the report from the ORD, that you get then a policy violation. Invalid licenses. Let me see. Exit. No, I think I'm in the wrong one. Licenses. Code. Sort licenses. No, it should be in here. I don't know if I am in the wrong UL properties. License classifications. No, here I would have expected, to be honest, a license policy. So typically you have the Kotlin script file that describes then the policy, where you can then say, okay, And yeah, you can really use everything from the whole meta model. Yeah, you could say if, for example, license from the meta model is the license has a license classification, and this license classification is then, for example, matching to copyleft strong or something like that, or commercial, I think would be the one that is obvious, that you say, okay, in such a case, you trigger a policy violation. So let me see if I'm just in the wrong repository. Otherwise, I think we can have a deeper look then in the event. So what was the other one? License policy demo. I think that there I would expect. Oh, that's even worse. There's no, there's not even that one in there. So therefore I don't know. Policy demo, double open, port config tests. Oh, sorry. Then I need to check that. I thought it would be in there. Ah, evaluator rules. Here we have one. Let's see. Def. It's the same. Yeah. So, but this is how such a rule looks like, right? You can really use everything. So here is no rule, obviously. Yeah. So, but you can check then if the license is this, if the license classification is that, and then make a message. Yeah. This is a rule violation that you then directly get into the report. Yeah. That's a little bit strange. So here, that looks better. Ignored license. So it's, sorry, I didn't prepare for that. I thought it would be something really easy, but hard to find now. Finally, string policy violation. But this is and here you can really also use then some functions that you reuse then in your packages. So that really looks like a very sophisticated policy file. These evaluator rules, and this is a Kotlin script file. And here I would, because that's a huge one. Let me see. Let's search for copyleft. Yeah. So here, this is then the copyleft functionality. So if the license is copyleft, now let us see if where is the final. So you can see this is very sophisticated. It's kind of programming already. But at the end, there's 6 proprietary project rules, copyleft. So that would be here the rules that are used and should be described in this. I hope I will have, yeah, here. Now we have it. So here, copyleft in source rule. So here it says, okay, if the project, the detected or whatever license or declared license is part of the project and it's not excluded, so the file is not excluded, then this rule would be checked. License use. So if there's a concluded or a declared and a detected license, so if ORT and ScanCode would have on the one side you have the declaration, and wherever it's declared depending on your technology, and also ScanCode detected, for example, that license, so that can be included. So this kind of the precondition, and then it would mark it as the ScanCode categorized license in project is copyleft licensed, is classified as copyleft. So, and then you can also put a how to fix message in case you have a I don't know, you don't want to have them. You can also write how to fix. Yeah, please remove this license, or please ask the author if you can have a non-copyleft or whatever. So this is the structure.
Okay.
So it's not, to be honest, not something for your lawyers. Let's say, hey, dear lawyer, could you write such a rule? I think there you would need kind of a process where the lawyer or the legal person could define, okay, I want to have such a rule, and then you have a developer who implements that rule in here. And that's what I meant. Would be very important to have then also a test set, that can check, that the lawyer can check. Okay, now did this developer correctly implement my rule, right? So to also prove, yes, this rule is working correctly. In case there is such a case, it should trigger that policy violation. If there's nothing, it should not. So both cases should be tested. And but it is also not that complicated, because I think it's still the logic is not super complex, right? Because here I think it's very they use a lot of functionality, etc., and it looks very sophisticated, but theoretically, once you get the idea, I think you can also then read it. So I didn't do this for some time, so therefore sorry. I was a little bit struggling with that, but here you have this policy, copyleft in source, copyleft limited in source. So this is the starting point: dependency in project source rule, deprecated scope, exclude reason in OR YAML, whatever that means. Yeah. Pre-restricted independency. I would have expected also some rule for commercial license, because that's a low-hanging fruit for explanation, right? So you say, hey, you detected the commercial license. Yeah, we expected only open source, and you can really check everything. Yeah.
I thought more in a different way. So not to write code, but to have to specify the policy and the rules, let's say in a JSON file or something like that, and then this JSON file gets interpreted, and then there will be some mechanism to apply all these things which are mentioned in the JSON file to the in the current build process. So because policies might change, and then you need always how should I say? You need always a programmer which hammers this change policy then into code. I thought it might be a better idea to have it like a configuration file, where the lawyers or the project manager, at least if possible, can define the policy for his product, because he needs a certain policy implemented, and then have it for his CI/CD pipelines. If you have it in code, then it becomes difficult if this same piece of code is used in different CI/CD pipelines, I think. But yeah,
I think you always need to be careful, obviously. So also here, Agustin, he wrote something that here Agustin Isasmendi, he will also be in our event. He will show something about the OSSKB and integration of applying rules. I think that's also interesting. What my experience there is it's helpful for pre-filtering, right? To filter out, because you get typically overwhelmed with a lot of findings, right? And some rules that help you already to pre-filter that is very useful, but you always need to be careful, right? So and check that, because also rules might, or filters might be wrong, and therefore this always comes with skilled and trained people, and people that know what they're doing, right?
Sure.
I think therefore the hint from Yari was correct, that double open, this is potentially just a teaser what they show us, and if you really want to have this and be on the safe side, and you order their services. Yeah.
Okay, we are already over time, so I want to thank all of you for your contributions and this lively discussions. Although we were not that much persons, nevertheless, I found it very interesting. And having said this, I all wish you a nice evening, and stay healthy. And I hope to talk to you again in the first Wednesday of April, which is the 2nd, as far as I remember. To discuss this further. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
all.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.